Welcome back to part two. Uh, all right then. So we spoke about Dylan White, Chisora, Joyce, Fury, Parker, Zhang. What do you think about getting rid of all the belts? So we'll get rid of all the politics because we've got that many of these heavyweights now that are pay-per-view or big name stars. Do the belts even matter? So then that gets rid of a lot of politics, doesn't it? And they're not paying sanction fees. What do you think about that, Ken?
Yes, I do. I remember I remember about 20 years back that there was a stage where Marco Antonio Barrera went through that and didn't pay sanction fees and just had really, really good fights
Yeah.
in the featherweight, super featherweight, and people didn't complain. Now, you look at you look at 4 weeks back, and I sent you a message and I said that Anthony Joshua wasn't in the top 14 WBC. Then a week, probably days after all this propaganda and nonsense started, he appeared in the top 10 for the WBC. So, are the belts relevant? No. We know who the best fighter in the world is. This week there's talk now. This answers your own question. So they're talking now that Manuel Char is going to come in and fight Tyson Fury. I don't know if I believe it or not. Would Frank Warren and Fury have the audacity to bring in such a terrible opponent in Manuel Char? He's rated number 62 in BoxRec. I think actually Dave Allen is rated higher on him in BoxRec. So that says everything that you need to know about the sanctioning bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think to that Lovejoy when he bounced on scene?
He's possibly the worst heavyweight I have ever seen. And he actually at the time when he was meant to fight Dave Allen, he was rated top 15 in the WBA.
That'd have been a good fight for Dave if he beat him and took his ranking, wouldn't it?
That would have been yeah, that would have been he would have been in the top, obviously 15 WBA
By default, though.
by default, beating a guy who was fighting overweight featherweights in Mexico.
Pub.
Yeah, his
Oh,
whole all Lovejoy's opponents were possibly overweight Mexican road sweepers in Mexico. There was no footage of him actually training
last
at the time.
last time I seen him fight somebody before he come on Sky scene and all that, to fight Dave Allen. He fought a bloke. I swear to God, I thought, who's he in with him? Mo Pryor. It was honestly. It was honestly. Bloke looked like he was having an heart attack, a bit like Mo Pryor. Always dabbing his head with Anki and that.
Yeah,
But Don King
he's terrible.
a Don King fighter, wasn't he?
He was Don King fighter. Now he's actually a manager. He manages some fighters. He manages to Curry Scott, so he does, and he manages another American heavyweight as well. But he's terrible. And I seen that fight, that bizarre fight against Manuel Char. It looked like in a dungeon somewhere in Germany for the alleged WBA title. It was possibly the worst fight, one of the worst fights I've ever seen. It was comedy. It was actually pure comedy. It was so bad. It was actually good to watch. That was how bad it was.
Not nearly as bad as what I were watching earlier on here on the stick here, the $6 million man.
Lee Majors.
Oh, Ken, I bet you had all action figures and everything, didn't you?
It was a wee bit before my time. I was more a teenage mutant hero turtle or Ghostbusters action figures.
Cameron, can you edit that out? Ken, why would you say you were running around pretending to be shouting cowabunga and all that? You want one of them, where you can.
I loved Teenage Mutant Hero. I actually never had pizza before, and until that, it was their whole thing was the pizza. I was like, I want to go down to get a pizza and taste the pizza. Yeah, I loved Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles was one of the biggest part of the 90s for cartoons from America. It was absolutely amazing. And they're still making films about it, so you can't knock it.
But you've got a comic stash, you aren't you, Ken? Have you? No.
Some, I've got some.
Go on, lad. Go on. Right then, we'll move on from heavyweights. Joshua Buatsi, what's happening with his career, Kent? Help me out here.
What's not going on with his career, Russell? What's not going on? That's the
60 grand a fight, and he has been for a few years now, so he's a millionaire, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's beat. The only name on his record is Spider Richards, a domestic fighter.
And you could make a case for Spider probably losing that by 2 rounds, couldn't you? Really?
Yeah, Spider's fault in that fight was the same as the Bivol fight. He just started that wee bit slower in that fight. That was the only thing that cost him in those 2 fights.
Yeah, yeah. Where do you see him going, Ken? Now,
Buatsi?
Yeah. Well, what's happening with him? Where do you see Buatsi going? Callum Johnson, Callum Smith, Anthony Yarde. Them 4 there. They're like kind of like parked up, semi-parked up kind of thing, aren't they? Or maybe even a bit more than that. Do you think 3/4 way parked up?
Yeah, it's waiting for the cash out. I think the problem with Joshua Buatsi is that deal, and this business wise, was absolutely way too good to be true. To be on that money, that was Sky money. That was money that came out of Sky's budget. Now on the DAZN platform, everything comes out of that. There's no budget for fights. There's no budget for this. It's all the one budget. So all the money from that money that he was given from DAZN comes out of that. And you look at the last fight, Russell, and it was there. I think there was only 4,000 people there at that fight. Now, for 2 London fighters, that's not good enough. And where it was, it should be selling a lot more. And Daddy Hearn kind of alluded to that. He says, like, it's only 4,000 here. It's a small but compact crowd. But really, at this stage of his career, with, the investment that Sky put into Joshua Buatsi, they were doing documentaries about him. He was on, Sky Sports News. He was getting a lot of interviews. And he's went nowhere. And I think Eddie at the time thought that, yeah, I could build him up to 20-0, then throw the dice with their money. But now at the minute, he doesn't seem too keen on spending that 160 grand on bringing over road sweepers for him. I think now they need to throw the dice with him. And I think the plan was for, I know I'm going on a bit, but I think the plan was for Canelo to beat Bivol, and they were going to bring Canelo over to London and possibly do Wembley, and Joshua Buatsi would have been the opponent. Now that he lost that fight, I think there's no plan for him. I don't think there's a plan for Joshua Buatsi at the moment.
No.
I don't think Matchroom know what to do with him.
What do you think BT know what to do with Callum Johnson?
I think Callum's been unlucky. I don't think they know what to do with him. I just think Cal's been unlucky with the COVID thing against Joe Smith. That was a nightmare.
I think Callum Johnson dropping Beta Beeves sort of put him back a bit.
Yeah, it was such he was brought in as
an avoided fighting. I mean.
Yeah. He was brought in as cannon fodder. He was brought in as a B-side against a guy who'd been mashing and piecing people up, and he it was unheard of. I remember watching it and being stunned. I remember watching Callum before that and liking his style, but his stock risen But really, what champion wants to risk a fight with Callum Johnson? He's so dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, yes. What about Anthony Yarde, Ken? What do you think is going to happen with him now?
Well, he's another one that's parked up. You know, these guys need to be active. I'm not saying that through anything on Joe or Callum, they're not active. I think he's had injuries, which isn't his fault. He got COVID. He didn't want to get COVID and blow the biggest fight of his career. That's out of their control. I think when you look at Yarde, you know, Yarde's been parked up for a long time now, over a year, as a light heavyweight. You know, Yarde's a big athlete. He's a really good specimen of an athlete. You know, you can't afford to sit around and have no activity, going in and fighting arguably one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. I don't see why they can't have him out and keeping him taking over for 10 rounders. It's absurd.
Okay. What do you see happening with Canelo now? Triple G, them two. Where are their careers heading?
I've never that last fight was high. Everyone knew possibly it was going to go. It was absolutely dreadful. I think Triple G just looked like he wanted to get through the fight without antagonizing Canelo in the fight. He didn't want to draw him out. He didn't want to get in on exchanges. He looked like he was just boxing, like he didn't want to get stopped. I think he's holding up the super middleweight division. You know, there's really good fighters there in the super middleweight division that can kind of sit and wait and see what's happening. You know, you look at the likes of Mark Heffron, who's a super middleweight. You know, you look at Zach Parker, you look at John Ryder. He's keeping that division held up. I don't know. I don't think he's good enough to go up and beat the likes of Ramirez or Bivol again. Does he go down the middleweight? I don't know where he's going to go next. I don't think there's really, you know, he likes to pick and cherry pick fights. I don't think for him there's a big fight in super middleweight. I think he'll want. Does he beat Demons? He will have to go up and challenge the winner of Ramirez and Bivol.
Yeah.
I know he stated that he doesn't want to fight Mexican fighters, but surely if Ramirez beats Bivol, that I think he will. I think Ramirez beats Bivol. Is there the Benavidez fight? He doesn't seem to want that. I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, go on.
Is there a fight there possibly with a Eubanks Jr.? I don't know.
No,
I think he's a no.
You know Eubank. No, sorry for butting in, Ken. You know Eubank. He just wants to create this big superstar image. McLaren's this and big fancy gaff that, and mixing with this person, that person. But his CV don't match the profile, does it? Same as Conor Benn's. So they're in it for money because the dads will have said to him, "It's an honourable game. It's only sport where you get your brain shook, your money took, and you name it Undertaker's book, in it, boxing." So Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Senior, aka English, whatever he's calling himself,
Sheriff.
they'll have advised the lads and said, "Look, it's an honourable game. Don't trust anybody. Promoters will tell you they're your mate. They're not. Nobody does mates. Just get what you can out of it. You can't retire on belts, can you?"
No, and I see, to be honest with you, I think Eubank's career didn't start off like that. You know, he started off, he was with Mick Hennessy. He went to Sky. He went to
Sauerland, Eddie.
Sauerland,
Been everywhere.
PBC, and
I don't want to do now. I don't want to fight anybody.
I think at one stage of his career he wanted to be a proper boxer. I'm not saying at the minute he doesn't seem to be where he was 4 years ago. You know, he fought Billy Joe Saunders. Then he arguably, I had that fight a draw. He went and he fought Arthur Abraham. he won the British title. So he was going on the right track. He was going on he went in the Super Series. He beat Jamie Cox, a good fighter. He beat Yildirim. Then he got that really big fight against Groves, and I don't think his career has been the same from that. I think has he found out this is my level?
So sure Eubank fought Jamie Cox?
No.
But Groves
no, he didn't. Sorry.
The other day I said Triple G beat Billy Joe, but it was Canelo won it.
Yeah, we'll be getting hate mail for that. Sorry, but
mate, they couldn't put a candle to me. These mate, ignore them. You carry on with doing what you're doing, Ken.
So he was brave at that time to say, right, this is a elite tournament. You've got Callum Smith in there, and you had George Groves in there. You know, they were the top super middleweights in the world at the time. So arguably, so he did put himself on the chopping block there, and from that, he looks like he has went backwards. You know, has he found out that this is the level that I'm at? Because to be honest with you, the middleweight division is terrible. There's not a big fight there, so it looks to me like he's just trying to monetize his name.
Rhubarb, isn't it? Middleweights at the moment, pure rhubarb.
Oh, terrible.
It's that bad. Martin Murray might be coming back. You never know, do you? For his 25th world title shot. It's like that film, isn't it? With Eddie Hearn and Nick Nolte, another 48 hours, then another, then yet another.
Yeah.
Or Beverly Hills Cop 19. Okay then, Ken. Okay. The big fight week starts tomorrow, Kent. Eubank, Benn Eubank, however you want to put it. A clash of styles, this and that. Look, they're not even best in the weight divisions in the country, are they? Right.
No.
Does Eubank beat Mark Efron?
No.
So that's how I look at it. But does Benn beat David Evanesian?
No, I don't even think Eubank beats Zach Parker either.
No, we probably don't. But they're going to fight, and they're going to have to wheel out the two dads, aren't they, to make it look authentic, aren't they, and get everybody nostalgic. But is everybody going to be prepared who's not a DAZN member to pay £8 to join and then 20-foot fight? So it's 28 quid basically, isn't it, on the night?
Yeah, and it goes back to what I said at the start. You know, all we have been conditioned to, and what's been trending the last 4 weeks has been Femi and Fury, and
that's been but we have had Benn Eubank on doing rounds, and all that. These kids not Connor and Chris Jr. Isn't it? Yeah, obviously.
It just hasn't had the momentum this last 4 weeks as what it should have, and you go back to that. You know, if they had a standalone, price for it, it would do better. But I can't see, like, people are even saying, well, where do you watch this? You know, the casuals are even saying, where do you watch this? So that's a problem in itself. I think if it was on Sky, was getting Sky Sports News, and it was getting all that viewership and all that promotion from arguably the biggest platform in television in Europe, it would do better. What do you think it does?
What do you mean buys wise?
Yeah.
Well, I think if it were on Sky, I think it would probably, achieve 800,000, 800,000, which is what Eddie and will be hoping for on DAZN. But it's DAZN and it looks quite complicated to order, doesn't it? And plus, it's 28 quid, so it's more, it's more than any others been charging it, because there's that £8 to join, isn't there? Plus 20 for fight. So I don't know, but I'd like to think that it did 500,000 on DAZN.
I think the numbers that because it's not in Wembley. That fight, if that fight was in Wembley, it would have made a gate of probably between 15 and 20 million, depending on the price structure. But because it's O2,
See
it,
that, man.
it's what is the O2? Is it 18,000?
20.
20. So it's going to have 20,000. I think Eddie needs around. The zone need money. The zone need money in this fight. That this fight needs to make not just to make the overheads for the fight. This needs to make money back on the overheads of the last 4 years. They need to start earning money. So I think the target that they possibly want, it needs at least 1.2 million buys.
Yeah, I've heard more than that. I've heard 1.4 they're aiming for.
Minimum 1.2 it needs to make.
There's no belt on mine, is there? What do you think about the whole smell around it with this rehydration clause where we're supposed to be looking after fighters and making things safe, and then they're saying Eubank can only put so many pound on? What is all that about?
I think it's really. I think in the interest of boxing, it's terrible. I had somebody speak to me yesterday about it, and somebody says to me, "Camp, what do you think of next week, Benn and Eubank?" And I said to him about, obviously the rehydration clause, and he says, "What would happen if Eubank pulled out of the fight come Wednesday or Thursday? What would actually happen?" Flip it for. I don't know why they took it. I don't know. Does Eubank know that he's never going to get an opportunity to make this amount of money again at middleweight or super middleweight? But it just doesn't seem right. You look at the ramifications of dehydration in boxing. You look at, it's not just soft tissue that gets dehydrated. It's the brain. The brain gets dehydrated. The brain is submerged in water. You look at the muscle wastage. Fighters go through to make weight. If a fighter's body fat is so low, what else? What are the reserves that they take off? Muscle wastage, atrophy, muscle atrophy. So he's going to be with this rehydration clause. He will not recover. I don't care what anybody says about him. Yeah, he's a big middleweight, and he's fought at super middleweight. Physiologically, in 24 hours, the body will not be recovered.
Yeah, listen, people need to try and go for a walk round block after they've not eaten for a couple of days, and then try and go on a punch bag. They might have a fight. We ought to make Eddie Hearn go on a punch bag, didn't we? After draining himself. Do you know what I mean? And only being allowed to put so much back in his body over so long. How did he get on that punch bag?
You look at fighters cutting weight. Fighters that can cut weight are fighters that say you have a higher body fat, you can cut weight, you can cut fat. But if you have a really, really low body fat and you've still got that weight to come off, plus you're gonna need to get some of that weight back on and fluid that you've lost. You've just went in the complete muscle wastage, muscle breakdown. Your body needs fluids to help it recover. The brain needs fluid to recover, and they've put a clause on preventing that. That is absolute. I don't know. I think the rehydration clause in boxing is absolutely deplorable. I can't see how the board have let all this happen. It's. I'm looking forward to the fight. Yes and no. Yes and no. I think with all those clauses, how can Conor Benn feel that, like a fighting man, that yeah, I'm going in and fighting this guy on such a massive advantage, and Eubank having such a massive disadvantage? How can he feel? How can he feel that he's actually, if he wins that fight, if he goes out there and stops Eubank, how can he feel that he actually earned that victory?
You can't, can it? It's by default, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And then they'll scream for a rematch with a rehydration clause at £160 then, and then it goes on and on and on till we have trilogies.
You know, he was on this week talking about laying people out, not fight anybody. If that was the case, he just turn around and say, you know what, we'll meet in the catch, and we'll just go get at it. Never mind a rematch clause. I will beat you anyway. If he really thought he could win that fight, there would be no rematch clause.
Listen,
Or
like,
sorry, no rematch clause and no rehydration clause.
I'm telling you now, mate, they're going to do, if this does good numbers, they will create some script on the night to play it against Sam. All right, let's move on anyway from them gimmicks. I don't even get me started about Campbell, hands of stone, Hatton, or is it hands of foam? I'm his fat, stupid dad who's fighting Barrera. No, I'm not even going to give it airtime.
No, I'm bored of him.
I want to talk about now is Terry Harper, Superwoman, jumping from featherweight to light middle. Because if Dennis McCann did it and fought Charlo and beat him, he'd be knighted, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you're right. I think you look at the divisions in the female boxing, and the depth isn't there. There's some divisions that there's in male boxing there's hundreds of fighters, there's up to thousands of fighters in divisions, and you look into some of the depth of the women's game. There's as well as maybe less than 100 fighters in a division, so it's down to the depth in the divisions. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think to fight? She got took to school, didn't she, Rankin?
I thought Rankin looked. I thought her. I told you during the week that I fancied Terry to beat her. I did fancy Terry to beat her on having better fundamentals. Her boxing fundamentals got her through. She got a bad cut early on, but without that cut, Terry Harper still would have beat her. I thought she kind of looked lost in there. She didn't really seem to have any real structure and how to actually beat Terry. I think Terry had a better structure on how to beat her, and what beat her was really good sound fundamentals. I think,
Fitness and fundamentals beat us, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely,
You think
absolutely.
you think they'll keep Terry away from anybody that can punch now?
Well, that's why they took her up the Hannah Rankin. Hannah Rankin isn't a known puncher. You look at the likes of Alicia Baumgardner. You know, who would win between Alicia Baumgardner and Terry Rankin?
I know Terry Harper.
Sorry, Rankin, Hannah Rankin. Upper weight.
Home Gardner would light her up, wouldn't she?
Yeah. So I think the way forward now, and look at Natasha Jonas. Look at the Natasha Jonas fight. Look at the amount of times that Natasha hurt her in that fight, and they stalled for over what's 2 years now. They've a cheek to ask now. Yeah, we want the rematch for Natasha Jonas. They've a cheek because Sky parked up Natasha Jonas for over a year and a half and wasted a year and a half of her career because Terry and Staffy didn't want the rematch.
Yeah, well, now they're going to need it for Undisputed, and it's what the fans want. So let's hope they can come together and get paid.
No, I've moved on from that. I don't want to see that fight. I just want to see. I think I want to see Natasha Jonas suit herself the way that Terry Harper did for those 2 years. I think that ship's well on.
Okay. Uh, Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury. What's happening with him?
Apparently, there's all this crap now that he
No
wants
man's
to.
land, Kent, at the moment.
No,
Hey,
no, no. Who cares? There's all this crap now that he's talking about. They're talking about this Tyrone Woodley fight. That's garbage. Absolute garbage.
Mm. What, Tyrone Woodley for Tommy Fury?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought Tommy wanted to be took serious and be a world champion and all that, like his stepbrother Tyson. What's going on there? Or is Tommy going YouTube like Callum Sutherland?
I think it's just, is he good enough to win a domestic title, Russell?
He's no good enough. Tommy Fury.
Yeah.
Get lit up in a central area fight, Tommy, and get lit up. No,
So
what's
do you honestly think that if Tommy Fury was good enough to win a domestic title, he would be fighting for it?
yeah, of course he would. They won't mess about. His dad and Tyson, they put him in, they know he ain't, so they're going to get as much as they can out of the job, which is good business sense, isn't it? If you can't fight at a certain level, you might as well try and get some money out of the job, aren't you? So I can see where they're coming from, but don't tell us that he's going to be going for legacy fights once he's done this, because why would he want to go fight for buttons when they're going to get millions fighting YouTubers? Don't lie to us, because we're not thick, are we?
It's just YouTube boxing, Russell, isn't it? It's just YouTube boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. They're in no man's land though now because they can't take a fight, can they? A pro fight now. They've nearly had a taste of some real money on a YouTube fight, can they?
Yeah, I think even the Jake Paul thing or Logan Paul, I don't actually know which one it is. I don't really care. He's talking now that I think he's going to fight Anderson Silva. Well, that's the talk anyway. The whole Hasim Rahman's son, Sharif Rahman, they were meant to fight. It was actually too good to be true that was going to happen. So I think that bubble is going to burst very, very soon with Jake Paul. And once that bubble bursts, there's no way that Tommy's going to get a big money fight. There's no way that's going to happen.
Once that ice cracks and I'm underneath it, there's no big money fights for any of them. Who's your helmet a month, Kent?
My helmet of the month. I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days, and I think this helmet of the month. I think he's the lineal champion of helmets. I think he's undisputed of the helmets. I think last week after Joe Joyce fight was shocking. I think he's got tinted glass on his glasses. I don't know how Eddie Hearn. I would actually respect Eddie if he just turned around and says, you know what, you're not welcome at my shows. I don't want you here. I don't want you commentating on them. I'm gonna go with the God, Gareth A. Davis.
Lock up your daughters, lock up your granddaughters, your mothers, your sisters, and any females you know. Watch out. The God about.
He's my vote for this month's helmets. So yes.
Helmets at month, I'm going to extend it till 4th. So get your votes in. Porkycorner@mail.com. I will film it on the 5th this week. It'll be out for Saturday. All right. So I think that's about it, Ken. We'll wrap it up. You've been great company. Thanks for coming on. How are we doing? Are you all right?
Yeah, good. Good to get back on again.
I'm okay.
Yeah, it's just good. Yeah, everything's good.
Busy with
just
your jobs and that, yeah, and what you doing?
Just been busy. So things are a bit more settled now. So I'm only down to 2 now. So I have a bit more time on my hands to do some. It was just things were crossing. Just it's good to get back and hopefully everybody enjoyed the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, Ken, you take care. All right, but I don't know what's more worrying, that cap you've got on or your fantasies about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turds.
Can I say one thing before I go?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Go to Adam Boo. He's the Dark Lord.
Oh, God. Ken, that is a cringing moment in boxing history. Now you will get slow.
So what? I don't care.
You're not doing it properly, Ken. You've got to open your lungs. Go to Adam Boo, the Dark Lord. He's the best. Is that better?
Can I try one more time?
Well then, Kent.
Go to Adam Booth. He's the Dark Lord.
Kent, let me just give you a bit of advice. You know, when you go and do somebody else's one-liners, they never sound the same no matter who you are. So don't take it personal.
No, you pinched some of my one-liners, so no.
What?
I'm due that. I'm due
What
that.
one-liners have you ever come out with, Kent, that rock boxing?
Uh, he made Joseph Parker look like Julian Jackson. That's pretty good.
Oh, you've only just said that today. I only
No, I've said that before. I've
Oh,
said that in
yeah.
2
Oh, is
videos
that
ago.
your one-liner? He made Joe Parker look like Julian Jackson. He's only just fought Joe Parker on it other day. You have been on for weeks.
No, Derek Chisora made.
Oh,
Derek Chisora
made
made.
Joe Parker. Oh, yeah, yeah. Have I used that before, Ken?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Take me out your black book for that. Cross me out for that.
It's okay.
Give me your life back, Ken.
You're okay. You're all right now.
All right then, mate. Well, listen, you have a great Sunday. And are you watching match now, Man City, Man U?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it on. I actually think United can get a draw today. I think United can get a draw at that game. I watched the London Marathon all morning. I'm gonna watch this match. I've had the dog out. I'm gonna take him another walk.
London Marathon, Kent, all morning.
Yeah, I watched the elite race. I thought the elite race was really good. It's good to see that participation event back because that's the event that pays for the elites and raises millions for charity. It's really good. I think it goes back to its normal date next April time. So yeah, it's good to see the. Hopefully, the next time Kipchoge can race, he's the world record holder. I'd love to see him back in London. I think he's 201.18 or something like that.
All right then. Okie dokie then, right, Ken. You take care and God bless, and I'll speak to you soon.
Peace out.
Peace out, Kent. Bye. Well, that were Kent. Nice to have him on. He always has a bit of banter with me. He's a good lad, Kent, big-hearted. He's doing all right. He's doing good. So, all right. Everybody have a great Sunday. We'll get this out now. All right. Hope you're well, Frankenberry. I love you, mate. Take care. All right. Peace out.